Okay,
Okay.
so
Um,
I'll tell you a story.
well, I'll tell you about it. Basically,
Several years ago,
There's a Chinese artist named Xu Bing.
an artist by the name of Xu Bing, Chinese artist, who had spent the prior 20 years in the United States.
Xu Bing is this artist from
And this is
China.
a story about Xu Bing, who had lived in the United States for the last 2 decades.
Xu Bing had been commissioned by the World Financial Center that was being built in Beijing to do a piece of art for the lobby of the building,
Giant, modern glass, striking building.
which is not unlike a lot of new modern buildings that are going up in Beijing right now.
And what surprised him most about going to China was the fact that the development over the course of 20 years was astounding to him. Couldn't believe how far the country had come in those 20 years.
And so he agrees and he goes to the construction site to see the building.
To the construction site where the World Financial Center was being built, and he was immediately shocked
He's completely taken aback.
He was shocked.
and appalled to see the working conditions of the migrant workers involved in building the building.
You know, when he went in, he couldn't believe that the work conditions were so poor.
They were all hard at work building this huge skyscraper, but they were living in such squalor.
And not only working there, but the workers that are living there, which is perhaps one of the most shocking things.
Just surrounded by trash and pollution and debris from the project that they were working
And
on.
he saw a huge contrast of rich and poor.
They were just at the lowest of the low, building this huge symbol of this new wealth.
This striking, beautiful building surrounded by equally striking despair almost.
And he thought about how he could continue the project while also accomplishing a goal to engage the workers or the laborers.
He knew that the piece he had to do for this building needed to involve the feeling he had when he walked up to it. And so he started collecting the debris.
To use what would otherwise have been scrap material from the construction site
Shovels and hard hats woven in, and
They gathered scraps,
giant pieces of leftover stuff.
old machinery.
to develop large sculptures. And over the course of 2 years, the Chinese laborers put together what was a really remarkable work of art.
He hires the migrant
He
workers.
allowed them to have a part in the design.
Through the process of working with these migrant workers, building these sculptures, he was again shocked and blown away by the capability and creativity of these people to build something that had a creative purpose, that had a cultural significance besides just progress. And when they were finally finished, years had passed, much more than he had expected, and it was very raw and intense looking.
Ultimately, the people that had commissioned the piece in the first place decide that they can't accept it or won't accept it. They abandoned the commission.
Because whether or not they fully understood the symbolism of what he was trying to do, they knew that it was harsh looking, it was not modern, and it definitely wasn't flattering.
Fortunately, it was picked up by some very sensitive people who recognized the value of that.
The phoenixes are now being displayed around the world.
And the thing I think that I loved the most about this was
As Americans, we can relate to this need to run from the duality of our identity. A lot of other countries can't help but live within it, but we actually are relatively good at denying it.
It sent a message that the laborers were not just mules in the process of construction, but they were more than that. They were creative, intelligent, industrious, productive people with a great deal of creativity.
You don't look at a modern glass skyscraper and see a hard hat or somebody sleeping in an unfinished building. You don't, when you look at buildings like that, you don't see that. It doesn't occur to you. And yet it wouldn't exist without them.